So what is your favorite quote that carried you through many seasons of life?
I'd have to say fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. I failed my studies. What had to be a 4-year degree turned out to be a 6-year degree.
But what advice would you extra give to young people that really want to thrive in their career?
A lot of my life has been failures. What I've learned is no matter how many times I fail, if it's 7, I'm getting up for the 8th time. You are capable of succeeding. I'm a graduate, married in 6 months. I'm a mother.
I need that, Grace.
Use that failure as a plot twist.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to the Success in Color podcast. First, as you can see, this is not the normal episode. Your usual guest is not in her seat today. She is on the other side. My name is Jason Siakwi. I am the director and co-founder. And today we're changing things up a bit. We are switching the roles and we want to find out a little bit more about our host. She has done an amazing job for the last couple of episodes for the entire year. And today we're just going to show her a little appreciation. And we're going to ask her some questions that maybe some of you also are having at home watching this. All right, Mishay, are you ready? Are you ready?
If I say no, does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. So, first question. Who was your favorite guest of the podcast?
No, Jason, you can't ask me that.
I have to. We had amazing people, especially the first episode. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. And you met a broad spectrum of different personalities.
Yeah.
So maybe not so much the favorite, but which one was one that really stood out for you?
All of you, by the way. All of you. But if I had to choose one, I'd say Anushka, if you're watching. Girl, yes, you.
Yes.
I remember she was very anxious. I think the most anxious to mostly physically anxious. And when we started rolling, when the camera went on, she was a bombshell.
Yes.
So if I had to choose, I'd say Anushka.
Okay. And is it because of that switch up, or was it what else in that podcast, that episode?
Not even just that, her information that she shared, the fact that she is also starting her own company, and she's a colored girlie from a colored area, from the Cape Flats, and making moves, showing our young girls out there that her too. Like, it's like a Me Too thing where every colored girl can look at her and say, I can do it too. And even the work that she was doing, the pro bono work she was offering as well.
Yes, I remember that.
That was such a shocker for me, but also so beautiful to see that even though she's aspiring to go her own direction, she's still helping others along the way. So even that, like her whole story, not just the switch up, everything.
And she had good energy when she came.
She had
good energy. And I remember that when she left, she was so like impressed with not just you, but like how we ran it, how professional it was, and know that she wanted to maybe do more in future. So hopefully, Anushka, if you're watching, it's wel terug hier. Okay, and then maybe a second question. So this is more for the young people watching, because we have a lot of young people that we're trying to inspire. We're trying to get them motivated with the great careers that come sit in the chair. But what advice would you give? Because there's a lot of creatives watching. What advice would you give the creatives that are at home, that are thinking about their own podcast, that are, maybe nervous about interviewing people? What advice would you give them on, tips or tricks or top 5 things that you can think of that will help them, be a great interviewer of guests, as you are? Yes.
Is it specifically guided towards the interviewer aspect of it?
Yes.
Okay. I think what greatly helps is being extroverted and loving people. That's just what I do. In ek hou van praat.
Yes.
Ek hou van praat. Guys, when I was in grade 8, my teacher proudly wrote on my report that I am like a Duracell battery.
Yes.
So being that helps. So how I can say that or how I can make that relatable for someone else is be yourself, lean into your strengths. And if you find it a weak point, then work on it, work on how to improve it, watch other people's videos. One thing I didn't do often in the beginning is watch how other people did what I wanted to do. And the more I did, the more I learned. So it's, in essence, I'm saying when you watch other people, you're not necessarily stealing from them, you're learning from them. So watch how other podcast hosts do it. Watch podcasts. How do they interact with the people?
Yeah.
And one aspect I do think, I was mentioning it earlier to Adele, I say that I love that we have a session before the podcast starts. I love that I can interact with my guests. I love that I can set the tone and
Yes.
become kind of acquainted with them.
Yes.
That really helps. So I hope those tips are.
Yeah, no, that's
valuable.
amazing. That's amazing. And like, I know the viewers don't see this, but like before we start the podcast, before we sit down in the chairs, people are nervous. I'm like dead nervous sitting here right now. But Mishay has a really calming effect on people, and I think that's one of those things that as an interviewer you should take the time just to make your guests feel comfortable. Whether it's just sitting with a coffee or sitting in the chair and just having a conversation, they get used to the mics and the cameras and all that. So yeah, I think that's a big part of our experience here. Last question on my side: what was the standout moment from kind of the guests? Was there a particular point in any podcast that was really memorable for you in terms of what they said or how it was said, or a story, a narrative in a story that really resonated with you?
I think there are many, as I will always say, every single guest that I've ever had, there has been certain aspects of it that will always remain with me. But mostly the most recent one, Adele's, and I think it's because it's so relatable. Her story is very relatable.
Yes.
I felt like she was telling me my life just from like a slightly different point of view.
Yes.
So that would be the story that I resonated with the most, that had the most impact on me. That almost made me cry on set.
Yeah.
Because you can go through a lot, but you can still make it to the top. And I love what she said earlier when she said, you can still fail and make it a plot twist. I hope I'm not butchering it at all. I'm sorry if I am. But all I remember is fail is okay. Just make it a good story. That's all I remember.
There we go. Yeah. I think half the studio audience almost cried at that one. So it was a very powerful interview. So that's it from my side. We got other people lined up because you're very important. You're very important. We can't just have one interviewer. We have to have multiple. So guys, I'm going to tag myself out of the hot seat and then we're going to switch it up.
Come on.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yo, you guys.
Hello, Mishay.
Hi.
Am I sitting right?
I do.
Okay. No pressure.
Yes, no pressure.
My first question to you would be, knowing everything you know now, today, as you are a person at the age that you are, what advice would you give your younger self, your matric self, your grade 8 self, to perhaps either get to a little bit further where you are today, or to even get to where you are today? What would you say?
Yeah. I'd have to stick to the failure aspect because I have had a lot of that. Failure is okay. I think when you go through certain things in your life, or for example, like it was mentioned earlier, you are the first person to lay the foundation or to pave the way. There's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders and you feel like you can't fail. I felt like I couldn't fail because of what I was doing for my family. I was breaking a generational thing in our family by going to university and actually completing it. And so failure is okay. You can fail and you can still make it. I actually heard now the other day in the week, Abraham Lincoln failed. The guy who made iPhone failed 8 times. And that was so inspiring for me and reminded me that, I failed my license 6 times.
You're not the only one, don't worry. Many of us.
6 times. So,
But you still got it.
Jason, did you just say that's too much? Jason, please.
Maybe
Please,
5 times
Jason.
is okay. But here you are.
Let's not say how many times we had to. Are you failed at your?
But look, like you said, here you are.
Yeah.
100 ways to skin a cat.
Yes.
You still got that same qualification or that achievement, that license. You still got it.
Yes.
And no traffic cop is gonna pull you over and say, "Let me quickly just see how many times did you pass your license." You still have the same piece of card.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's really great advice. I actually really like that.
Thank you.
Secondly, I think just to keep it a little lighthearted, what is your coffee order? And how do you think it mirrors you as a person? What would you say?
Oh, can I show it in the camera, Shifan? Oh, it's gone.
I think there we go.
Okay, most of
Let's
it's
go.
gone now. Thank you. So this is my favorite. I never knew what it was until I got to the studio. It's called Faluda, specifically the strawberry one. And our videographer, his son has a cafe space downstairs, and he introduced it to me for the first time. I had it and I enjoy it. How it describes me, it's pink firstly, which is one of my favorite colors. And it has a lot of different things inside. It has the rainbow sprinkles, it has the cream at the top, it has strawberry, and that's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm altogether lovely, never the same thing. I'm very easily adjustable, and I'm
Not butter.
yeah, I'm sweet. I was just about to say I'm sweet, and that is how that describes me.
Okay, that's good to hear. And I also think maybe if you could think about it, nice and cool. You're a cool
Yes,
person.
yes.
There's a variety of ways to have Faluda. It's not a
Absolutely.
one thing fits everyone, that type of thing.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's good to know. One last thing I would perhaps like to ask.
Mhm.
In the South African context,
Mhm.
as a colored woman, what do you think is important to help cement yourself in society in 2025?
Mhm.
What would you say to the 7-year-old girl in Mitchell's Plain or the 10-year-old girl in Delft or whatever? What would you say is very, very important in today's society?
I love that question so much. And I actually want to look them in the eyes when I say this. My, I guess I could call it words of wisdom, right?
Go for it.
Is when society speaks, close your ears. Close your ears to whatever society has to say about you, your character, where you're supposed to go, or what you are supposed to do, or you look like a this, or you look like a that. Close your ears. I think I can draw more to my faith. I'm a Christian, and I believe that God has a plan for my life. And so the only person I'm going to consult, or the only being that I'm going to consult about who I'm supposed to be and where I'm supposed to be going, is my Lord and my Savior. So that is the only voice that I want to hear louder than any other voice. So yeah. Please.
Amen, sister. And again, just to emphasize on what you said, as a colored person, myself as a colored woman, there is no need for anyone to fit into the molds
Nope.
or the stereotypes
Absolutely.
of what they place a colored person.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it from me. Thank you, Mishay. I'm just going to hand over to my partner in crime. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Fadwa.
Yo, okay. Hi,
Hi.
how you doing, Mishay?
Shame. I'm fine, man. I'm fine. And you?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. So yeah, I'm the last person to interview.
Awesome. Make it good.
Yeah. So my first question is, and I'm not like the others. I need to read off the.
Yeah, you do you. Sir.
Yeah. So what is your favorite quote that carried you through many seasons of life?
I'd have to say fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. Because my life, life is evidence of that.
And do you want to share maybe a bit of that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of detours in my life, a lot of failures, a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, my license wasn't the only one. I failed my studies. What had to be a 4-year degree turned out to be a 6-year degree. What I envisioned for myself as a Christian woman to first get married and then have kids, I did the other way around. So a lot of my life has been failures, has been mixed with shame. Let me not highlight the failures. The failures are only 0.1% of my life. But if I had to say or adapt to that quote, what I've learned is no matter how many times I fail, if it's 7, I'm getting up for the 8th time.
Okay, cool. And then I know there's a question that was a little bit attached to this one, but what advice would you give to young people, right? Especially that wants to thrive in their careers. Like you said, you had failures, but what advice would you extra give to young people that really want to thrive in their career? And maybe you can highlight your career that you started in, because I know you mentioned it. But yeah.
Awesome. Actually, a disclaimer, and also everyone else is finding out with you guys right now. I'm officially a graduate, guys.
Yeah.
I'm officially a graduate. As I said, I've been studying teaching, so I've been doing my bachelor's degree of education. Should I share my majoring subjects? No. But I've been doing that, and yeah, what had to be a 4-year degree turned out to be a 6-year degree. I had my son during that time, which was one of the things. Well, me becoming a parent and having to manage both of that contributed to the length of my studies. And first of all, just disclaimer: kids are always a blessing, So it is more about me and how I had to adjust to that. But words of wisdom, I would have to say, is fail forward. Don't allow what has happened to you to become a recurring aspect in your mind. I did a lot of that. I would ponder, and the enemy does that. He will remind you of things that you've done in the past before and try to keep you in bondage. But you have to persevere and fail forward and say, yes, I've made that mistake, but I'm better now, or I can do better. Learn, educate yourself. We've been saying that this entire year. Educate yourself, find the information, and first of all, listen to people who believe in you. There are so many people who feed into us, and sometimes because we're so blinded by our past, blinded by mistakes that we've made, we don't think we're capable of succeeding, but we are. You are capable of succeeding. Man, look, I'm a graduate, married in 6 months. I'm a mother. Come on, guys.
Sure.
Like
I need that, Grace.
you can do it. You can do it. Fail forward. Use that failure as a plot twist. Get up 8 times if you fall down 7. And quiet society. Close your ears when society speaks. There's nothing that you cannot do.
Okay. So last question, and I like to throw something on
Of course you do.
on
Here
the
we go.
cake or whatever. If you had to change South Africa,
Aish.
and there's just one thing that you would love to do, whether it's become an activist in something or create a podcast or whatever the thing would be, what would that be and why?
While that you asked that, I mean, you know me. I'm faith, like I'm all about faith. And I think that would be one of the aspects that I would push or be more sincere in. I would definitely start a podcast about educating kids about my faith. And not just that. A bit of what I'm currently doing, educating kids on how to make good life choices. And that's something I feel like should be more highlighted for kids in school, not just wait until they are 20 years old for them to figure out, oh, I need to register on the SARS app. Those are things that they need to learn at a very young age. So I think that is something that I would be an activist for, to educate kids at a younger age about real life, how to make real life good choices. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mishay. I think I must wrap it up like usual. Eh?
Yeah.
So, guys, please subscribe, share, like, and follow. Am I correct now?
Yeah. Go.
And enjoy the podcast and the rest of the journey. Thank you, guys.
Hey!
If you found this content valuable, you are more than welcome to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on TikTok as well as Instagram, where we share some more interesting content about career planning and beyond. Thank you for joining me with the Success in Color podcast. My name is Mishay, your host. Bye for now.